Oh, okay. I was like, everything went quiet.
I was so still that you thought, yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit go
Drax.
live.
Drax and Infinity War.
You're live. Okay, so hang on. Let me make sure.
Are we really live? Not sideways. I'm not sideways.
You're not sideways yet.
Yet.
This
We'll
is a
get
brand new
sideways before
stream.
this
This is a
podcast
brand new
is over.
stream. Okay. Let me paste all the places. I gotta paste in the place.
Get your pasties on.
New stream, LOL. Paste here.
Hey,
Okay.
There we are.
All right. Well, hey everybody that's actually here now. I don't know how many people still stayed in the stream, but if you're here now, hopefully everything's working okay. And yeah, Maddie, you can spam the link because I need to do the podcast. And I spammed it in the Discord, but I did not put it on Twitter or anything yet. So for anyone who was here a few minutes ago, I was telling this hilarious joke about a talking dog. And I don't know if anyone wants to actually hear the end of the joke, but if you do, maybe we wait till the end of the podcast for the most tension possible. So, oh no, why can't I hear Ted? No! Can you, why? Oh my God. Why can't I hear Ted? Oh,
it's lagging. I'm so lagging.
I can hear you a little bit now. Let's pretend everything's okay.
I'm like the guy from Slaughterhouse 5 where he's unstuck through time. I feel like I'm just jumping around James's conversation.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay right now? Like I just said words?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Are we?
Yeah.
I can't. Your face is like out of sync, but that's okay.
Well, whatever. We'll assume that it's fine. Okay. So
okay. Let's just keep going. Cool.
Assuming everything continues to work fine, and you know what happens when you assume is you're usually right.
True.
We're doing this live. If you can't tell, for the first time, if you can't tell,
I can tell. I can tell. It's live now, though.
Yeah, it sure is. At least I think it is. My computer's kind of glitching out.
12th level intellect you are, James.
Yeah, I know.
Me too.
So, yeah. So anyway, how this is theoretically going to work is we're just going to do the podcast like normal. Those who have the podcast before, we talk comic book news, and then we have like a main topic, which today is the latest issue of our Legacies of the DCAU.
The Prebirth issue.
Then we'll do a quick comic relief, which is like what we've been reading in comic book world lately, and then we'll go to Everyone's Trash, which is the mail section. Used to be untitled mail segment, and during that time, if there's any questions that pop up during the live chat, we've got Adam.
Like, what's our favorite pizza topping?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
It's a very important one. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, Adam. We got Adam Mullen moderating. I hope he got the new link. I think he probably did. He's kind of stalking us constantly. Every tab on his computer is just open of Watchtower stuff. So I'm sure he knows the new link.
I always felt like someone was watching me. Now I know.
Yeah, I mean he is constantly connected to your webcam. So as long as you're okay with that, yeah.
That's why I changed shirts to match your shirt.
Yeah.
That's why I walked down the hallway. Yeah.
Right. I kind of wish that we had been able to start the stream correctly when you were choosing a shirt, because it was kind of like an interactive experience.
You were like, hey, we're here in Ted's room. Let's see him take a shirt.
Let's see him take his shirt off.
What's he going to wear today?
Also, I should mention, in case it's not obvious or you've never known this fact, Ted and I do not live in the same state, time zone as each other.
Despite our walls being the same color, you could think they were in the same room.
Yeah, just in the same room, looking at each other on squares instead of.
You're in one corner, I'm in the other corner.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. Do I want to hold potentially inappropriate messages? Yeah, not now. Pretend to
Not
talk to
yet.
each other, said Jake Johnson. Okay, so we'll all pretend to talk to Ted, and he can pretend to talk to me. What is this, Ted? This is the 12th Level Intellects podcast, correct?
That's what I named it.
We should probably wait. What? We should
I came up
probably
with the name. You remember?
Did you? Sure. I don't know if
definitely
that's
did.
historically accurate.
I definitely did.
Okay, I'll take your word. You should do the 3, 2, 1 clap like we always do.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I sure am.
All right, 3, 2, 1, clap.
And
That's
everyone
tradition.
watching, that was perfectly in sync, perfectly timed.
It was.
As always.
It was. I was chatting at the same time, but you know what?
Yeah. We do live in the same bed. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll occasionally be getting through this, and then we'll go to trash. So news. Last time, so we tried to do this episode a few days ago, like we usually do, a few days early, and there was just technical difficulties out the wazoo, not like anything like today. And
it was actually very different technical difficulties.
It was,
to be fair.
Yeah. But so the first thing that I brought up in the past version, I'm just going to pretend like that never happened, and we'll just go forward. Aquaman in the comics is apparently getting Jason Momoa's tattoos from the movie.
Right.
And so he's just going to look like Jason Momoa more and more the longer it goes on, but with like still his steely blonde hair, you know. He's
got that like early 2000s boy band blonde highlight tips.
Frosted tips. But he's got frosted everything. Do you think that's because he's in the cold depths of the ocean so much?
Is it in the current book that he's getting at? Because that's it's like a weird. It's spun out of that Drowned Earth story arc at Justice League. Kelly Sue DeConnick's writing that. She's the one who did like Captain Marvel, reinvented that character for Marvel, and Bitch Planet for Image. Yeah. She. I read the first issue.
Hair.
I guess. If that's what that means. But I like the first issue. I kind of dropped it, but I do like. I like my Aquaman with a beard. I like him with a hooked hand too. I miss that aspect, but you know.
Do you like him with a hooked hand on the wrong hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, did that? Oh, right. It's a statue.
Yeah.
Wait, which is the right? Is it the right hook or the left hook?
It's the left hook. The left hook is right.
The left hook is the right hand.
Is the right hand. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got it.
Cool.
Hashtag
the left hook is the right hand.
I don't really have much else to say about Aquaman. I think it helps kind of keep him like in a kind of islander tribal kind of thing, which is cool. And he's always been like a character that I can see why people would maybe say this is like, oh, they're trying to make him too cool. Like, just give up. Aquaman's not cool. But like I don't know. I've known Aquaman more as the left hook right hand Aquaman than I have any other version. So I've never really thought of Aquaman as a derpy, like uncool dude, but that's
when I started reading comics, I was doing Grant Morrison's JLA, and that's very much hook-handed Aquaman. That's the coolest version. The action figure I had was the Total Justice action figure line, which was the hook hand version too. So that was my Aquaman. My toy actually like lost its hook.
Is that
so
the
like
action figures that are way too buff? Like they have way too many muscles. Yeah, I think I have that one too.
It's a classic. So I grew up with that Aquaman too, but then I saw him in Super Friends. I guess that was my other exposure, and that was like a totally different type of Aquaman. Yeah,
but that has seemed to me, like a version of Aquaman is just from that time period. It's not like that's Aquaman and now you're no, Aquaman is just cool now, you know?
I like fanfic had a good comment, maybe the DCAU will mix things up and give him a harpoon leg.
Yeah. he has to like kick back, sit on his butt and like kick up with his hands and then shoot his legs out. It would be a memorable issue of the comic. So
nice.
All right. Yeah, what's your things? You got news probably.
I was going to talk about Batgirl.
Okay.
We have casting rumors. It's Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley. Daily. Just your daily dose of Ridley over here. Extra.
I'd read the Daily Ridley, I think. It's Daisy Ridley news,
especially if she was
Scott
Batgirl.
news. Yeah. It's just Daisy
Ridley,
Ridley
the
and
pet
Ridley
dragon
Scott
from
news. That's all
Metroid.
this. Yeah, okay. That can be in there a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this casting.
She's not cast yet, but she's the top rumored
Potential
person.
casting. Yeah.
And you'll remember this movie was previously going to be directed and produced by Joss Whedon, and he ended up dropping out because he claims just because he didn't have the right story. We'll see. Joss Whedon's had an interesting year or two.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It might have been the fact that Justice League flopped so hard when they brought him on to do reshoots.
Yeah,
But
I mean, so everyone always talks about Joss Whedon as being. This isn't the subject that we're talking. We're talking about. Everyone talks about Joss Whedon. So, like, he did Buffy. He did. What's the other, like,
Firefly?
Yeah, which has a lot of like strong female characters and
Cabin in the Woods. I like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, but then like my first exposure to him was Avengers. I've never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know of it and what it is, but I've never watched an episode. Sorry, everyone that gives a shit. But so my okay, yeah, I guess Black Widow's pretty good in this and stuff. Like, I'm trying to like get why people say that about his characters. But so my biggest like Joss Whedon to female character strength is in Age of Ultron. There's a fallen Scarlett Johansson's boobs moment, and in Justice League, there's a fallen Gal Gadot's boobs moment. So I'm just, are you sure about that? Are you sure this is the same person? We're talking about the same person here? So, I don't know.
Would you argue that like having those fallen boob shots
is empowering? Yeah.
Maybe, but it's definitely male gaze sort of
for sure.
That
I mean, it's all things we want to do, but this shouldn't be in the movie. So anyway, the only other thing I have about the Daily Ridley girl, I don't know. Would she be like could she do an American accent? Have we heard her do that before?
I haven't personally.
Okay, you've not asked her in person to do an American accent for you?
Or I haven't seen a lot of her films. I've only seen her in Star Wars.
That's completely accurate, yes. Oh, no, she was in that train movie, trainheist.com.
Snowpiercer?
Where in the trailer where the names go,
nope.
Wake me up, believe up, that one. So Orient Express. Yes, there you go. I like how that made you remember. Yeah, she was in that.
Actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've only seen part of that movie. But I think she was British in that too. Would a British Batgirl work?
Here's a question. Oh, okay. Wait. Well, I was about to ask, who would you recast as Commissioner Gordon for that film? But we've already had J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, you're right.
Blanking on his real name. What's his real name?
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. But if you, I mean, they'd have to, if they did that, which I feel like they're just kind of, we'll very slowly remove ourselves.
You think they're going to split this Batgirl movie off to be part of the Batman movie with Pattinson? Robert Pattinson?
Oh, I don't know. If they do the Pattinson movie with in the same kind of way as the Joker movie, where it's just like that's another movie and that's another, I'd be okay with that approach instead of just trying to follow the MCU formula. Okay, so there's we talked about this in the previous version of this podcast. Joe Hill is writing some horror comics for DC, the Hill House branding, and I think so. It's under the Black label, but I don't know what changed.
Yeah, so
it just got deleted or whatever.
DC just reshuffled all their branding. Vertigo is the biggest one that took a hit. Vertigo's been one of their like mini sub publishers they've had since the early 90s, or maybe even the late 80s. But with like Neil Gaiman's Sandman and Grant Morrison's The Invisibles, books like that really took it off and kind of cemented the brand. It was a lot like it had all these like really weird sort of esoteric stories where you knew what you were getting into there. So now DC's stepped back from that, and they're kind of doing like, here's DC stuff for like 7 and up. Here's DC like
Yeah,
13 and up.
so they're all labeled like board games now. They won't be
I think.
labeled like.
Yeah, maybe.
Who
Yeah,
determines
Black
the age
Label.
that it's okay for?
I don't. The editors.
Moms.
Dan Didio.
Just a squad of moms that read each comic and go, I don't
They're the
know
ones
about
who are
this
like,
Batman's penis thing. No,
yeah,
sir.
exactly.
Not
So they
for
stopped
my
marketing that
girls.
book. I actually just finished Batman Damned. I read that last night. I read the last issue. I liked it. It was fun.
Did Batman finish?
The only penis is in the first issue.
And then they removed it pretty quickly.
I'm not disappointed. It doesn't affect me. I like the book because it had a bunch of magical characters in it, like John Constantine, Swamp Thing, Zatanna. It seemed like they were writing a Batman book, but really wanted to write a Justice League Dark book. So.
Oh, Matthew Shelley says, I don't think just being British makes a character's performance suck. I wasn't saying that if she was British that it would suck. I was just trying to imagine a British Batgirl and also being like, I mean, there's no reason she couldn't be.
Is Christian Bale British? He was a British Batman.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like it's probably way easier to do a convincing American accent than it is to do a convincing British accent because
Alfred's British.
Yeah.
We had somebody who say if she was Alfred's niece again, like she was in the Batman Robin movie.
That's true. That could work. Yep. Yeah. Uncle Alfred. I'm Alicia Silverstone from.
That was Kyle.
England.
Kyle Towers said that. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah. I also agree with Jake that Tom Selleck would be a good Gordon. He's in some cop crime drama show that grandmas watch. I can't remember which one. But he's like the police captain or whatever, and so.
What about Sam Elliott? He's got the mustache for the job.
Yeah, but hey, Batman, you need to get over there to the Joker or something. He'd just be he and Batman would just be having a dueling like philosophical sentences back and forth. If you capture all the criminals in the city, what kind of city do we have left? Well, I just think they'll just go on for hours and then never get anything done. Around the town is exploding. Okay.
Moving on. Swamp Thing.
Yes.
There was a lot of drama. We talked about that last episode about how it was canceled prematurely.
Oh, the actual last episode.
Yeah, the actual last, yes.
The fake last episode,
there are rumors now that the show... So I saw on the main actress's Instagram just like a day or two ago that she was doing like ADR voice recording for episode 9. And I thought Swamp Thing was stopped at episode 8. So there's now...
I thought you said it was 10.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it did go up all the way to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, yeah. So she's... Okay, so it's still on schedule to go through episode 10. Yeah. Well, no. My news was that it might finish with a movie. Rumors that the show might spin off into a Swamp Thing feature. And that could be like a direct-to-DCU thing. Maybe... I doubt that they would like spin off this TV show into the theaters, though. That doesn't seem very smart.
There's a guy that I work at a fitness center just behind the counter, just taking people's money. I mean, legally. Anyway, and there's a trainer there who's there like every day, and he always says hi to me, and he's just this giant ripped man, but he's like just the nicest dude. And so he'll come up to me and just talk. He knows I draw the Legacies comic. He's seen some of it, so he's like, well, I often draw the Legacies comic, let's be clear. And so
not the latest issue.
No, not the one we're talking about today. But he was like, he'll always just kind of talk to me about superhero stuff. And so he asked about if I was looking forward to the Swamp Thing movie. And then I had to look it up because I was like, oh, I think you're thinking of the TV show. Yeah, I mean, it had a couple episodes and already got canceled. Like, blah, blah, blah. And no, it's a movie, dude. They're coming out with a movie. I don't know about that. That's incorrect. But then I guess he was right. I hope he was coincidentally right. Yeah.
But you know how DC is with their movie announcements. You can't really believe it until you see footage.
If it's attached to the show, like if it's like a finale, like we're gonna end the show with a movie, then that's cool. But if it's and
they were suggesting that they were building up to Justice League Dark, like bringing in all these other characters. Like they've established Madame Xanadu and Blue Devil, and Phantom Stranger was in the most recent episode. which he didn't look anything like Phantom Stranger, so I was a little disappointed by that. But
Oh,
similar
really?
character. Yeah, he looks like a homeless guy in just a big like overcoat.
Maybe it's his Morgan Freeman. What's that stupid movie? Bruce Almighty. Maybe that's actually a pretty good movie. His like hobo get up. He's
Right.
God, but
Yeah, it
he's
could be like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the
maybe we'll
Phantom
never
Stranger
find
comic
out.
book, God was in his little terrier
His
dog,
little
so you
dog,
never
yeah.
really know. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking
Cool.
of dogs, I should really quick. I should tell that joke so that people aren't mad.
Yeah, tell the joke. I don't know what joke, but
So
tell it.
speed run, yeah, because I was doing a joke with you last time, was like trying to figure out why I couldn't hear you and stuff. But maybe me telling the joke is what sparks the the problems, so that you end up falling behind and stuff. Well, okay.
Sorry, James. Say that. Say again. I didn't hear a word you said.
You're doing that on purpose.
Whatever.
Trying to give me a heart attack.
Just tell your stupid dog joke.
The speed run of the joke is the kid says he has a talking dog. No one believes him. He goes up to people on the streets like, "Hey, I got a talking dog." They're like, "No, hey, man." And by the way, there's a couple of echidnas in here who are helping us out. I want to give them a shout out to thank them for a couple of Sonic boys helping with the live stream today. And he sent a rolling eyes emoji when I started telling the joke. But hey, man, I'm going to tell the joke. So there's a dog. The kid says, "Hey, my dog can talk." He goes, "There, people can. That's not a talking dog." And he's like, "Yeah, hey, dog, what is on top of a house?" And the dog's like, "Roof, roof." And he's like, "See, hey, that's not a talking dog. He's just a dog." And the joke's not over yet. I'm 1/3 through the joke. Then he moves on down the street and he says, "Hey, I got a talking dog." That's not a talking dog. He's like, "Hey, yeah, what does sandpaper feel like?" And the dog's like, "Rough, rough." And that's not a talking dog. It's just a dog. And then he moves down the street again and he's like, "Hey, I got a talking dog. That's not a talking dog." "Oh, yeah? Hey, who's the most famous baseball player?" And the dog goes, "Ruth, Ruth." And the guy's like, "Oh my God," and walks away. And then after the guy leaves, the dog says, "Maybe I should have said Jackie Robinson."
Oh, wow.
See, so the dog can actually talk, but he was just asking him questions. So today we're going to be talking about the issue of our webcomic Legacies of the DC Animated Universe.
Are we done with the news? I think we have a little more news.
Okay, fine. If you have something, then go ahead. I don't have anything else.
We haven't talked about the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go trailer. That's big news.
We sure haven't. Yeah.
I watched it. How did it sound?
I also did watch it. Watch it without sound? Why do you do that? You do that way too much.
Because I was like at work, and I was like, I didn't want to.
I was also at work, but I just said, "Who cares?"
Do you bring headphones to work? I don't bring headphones to work.
No, I just blast Scott Menville's sexy voice for everyone to hear.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do that.
I was disappointed, I guess, just that it looks more Teen Titans Go-y than Teen Titans Y. Like they're just kind of, hey, here's the original.
It seems like maybe the OG Teen Titans came to the Go world.
Right. But so yeah, it's okay. I'm sure I'll watch it. It's a direct-to-video, maybe, I think. So it's probably not maybe it's on DC Universe. I don't really know the information. But the Teen Titan, the like original Teen Titans they seem to be acting more cartoonish and Teen Titans Go-y, but maybe that's what you're saying, is it because they're in the Whoa, Jay's Reviews, $10. Thanks, Jay's Reviews.
Oh,
I don't know why, but thank you. Yeah, we give you money. Just you don't give us
more of $29.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you couldn't have given us the extra penny, man. What the hell?
I think that's so that we can timeline your joke like fanfic once.
Yeah, is that joke canon to the DCAU? Talking dog.
That's a Maddie. It's a Maddie question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that trailer happened.
Not much to talk about with it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm sort of confused.
Are there any like open-ended questions we have from the end of Teen Titans? Because you watched it more recently than I have.
Oh, plenty.
Yeah.
Well, like the very last, I mean, I should talk about it too detailed, but the last episode definitely leaves stuff as like a that's the last episode. What kind of stuff? Like
it was the one with like Tara being
yeah,
back.
they were
sort
starting
of.
to kind of follow up on that as if they were going to explain what's going on, and then just didn't get to, or didn't. I don't know, but it kind of feels like I haven't looked into it. I should, but it kind of feels like Legacy for Superman in that like maybe this was the first episode of a new season that they didn't get to do, so that it just became the finale or something like that. But it also plays out sort of like the Batman Beyond finale, Unmasked, where it took like forever to actually air and then wasn't even a finale. It was just a random episode that happened to be titled a word that sounded like it was going to be this amazing thing. But it's just Batman he saves a kid from Cobra. The end.
So, Maddie's saying there are a bunch of different Titans that were in a group shot.
Yeah, you're right. There was the the DCAU. And
that's still a thing.
Oh yeah, and I saw 80s cyborg flying through. Yeah, it was it's going to be something similar to something that we but I'm not going to say what. A bunch of different versions of
you're basically trying to say it's a crisis of infinite animated Earths.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'm sure I'll watch it because I'll have to.
This should be fun. Maybe it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Did you see the Brave and the Bold Scooby-Doo crossover?
No.
Because that was a really fun movie.
Yeah, I want to. I also want to watch those 60s Batman movies. But my brain tells me
with
I have to watch.
Two-Face.
Yeah. Have you watched all of the 60s Batman show?
No.
Okay, I didn't think. I know you probably don't have to. Because I'm that person, okay? I have to.
You're the person who starts from the beginning, gets bored halfway through because I don't know, something about Data or Worf doesn't.
Yeah, you got
rub you the right way.
I got bored because of Deep Space Nine. That's what it was. Sorry,
is Adam still paying attention to this?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Adam, tell us why the next generation should why we should just finish it.
Yeah.
I say but I mean James.
Yeah, by we he means me.
I'll probably just skip to Picard.
Yeah, I mean really you can just watch the next generation and there'll just be a couple of times of like who is this? It doesn't matter though. But I have to. I don't know. I have to watch everything. So can we talk about Legacies now, Ted? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can. Because we're definitely not talking about Deep Space Nine.
No, we should not. Okay. So for those who don't know, called Legacies of the DCAU. It's set between the end of Justice League Unlimited and the beginning of Batman Beyond. Goal of the comic is to fill in as much of the unknown gaps from that were never shown on the TV shows, while also kind of playing off of stuff that we do know happens during that time. And we started this fall of 2015. Here we are almost 4 years later, and we have 9 issues out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 issues. Which honestly is kind of decent, for the fact that we just make these
when we can.
Free. Like we don't get paid, and it's just a passion project.
It's the definition of it.
Correct. The most recent one here was Anno Domini, which is the AD in a year. You explained it better.
2019 AD.
Yeah.
Anno Domini's Latin for Year of the Lord, Year of our Lord. And this is Prebirth is the name of the issue that we put out on June 21st, which is the canonical day that Batman retired from being Batman, that we see in the opening scene of Rebirth Part 1, the first Batman Beyond episode. So it's
right, and this was
where
this was a thing. This was a scene. The Bruce Wayne quitting scene has always just been like you see it, and then in the episode it says 20 years later, and then from math from the shows, you know that 20 years later is 2039. So we're like, oh yeah, it's in 2019. That's all we've known for forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we happened to come across on the Batman Beyond fan page on Instagram. There's just a extra like full page spread in like a special release of the Rebirth comic version that just shows like on this day, June 21st, 2039 marks the 20th anniversary of the last known appearance of Batman. And we're like, what? Like an exact day? Okay. So
that's nice.
Sure that this one got out on that day. Because we have one chance to get that right. So
right. And we did it. We hit it. That was
Yeah.
like always a big milestone sort of thing that we want to do, because it's really the only day that we have like that we could hit, you know? There's other types of stories we could do later that might, you know, fit within kind of like the real world time and DCAU time that we might get to later. But yeah, this is like the concrete date and it was really awesome to get there.
And this was supposed to be part 3 of Anno Domini because we were going to put out, I mean, we still are, we're going to put out several 2019 set issues this year. But this was really the one we needed to hit like exactly. So we changed a couple of lines in the comics so that there wasn't like references to part 1 and 2 blatantly. Like there still are, but they're not as like, remember the thing that you just read that doesn't exist? Well, here we are in part 3. So
right,
but there's still a lot of
there were it was only like 1 or 2 lines that referenced the first 2 chapters that I wrote, which we'll put out. The plan is later in the year we'll put out kind of a larger oversized issue that has like all these 2019 chapters in there together, including Prebirth. So that'll be inserted back.
It'll
where
be
it was
like
initially
that's
planned.
the goal, is to have like a big, thick, book, digital book of the 2019 stories.
I see. These questions over here.
Yeah, you can go.
So she's asking if Bruce Timm or Paul Dini know about Legacies. And as far as I know, they don't. Although they've kind of referenced things in panels
from our channel before,
from our channel, but also saying things like, I know Paul Dini said one time, like, "Oh, I wish fans would make their own things instead of trying to copy."
No, it was one of the Batman the Animated Podcast episodes. He was talking to Paul Dini and I think it was the Baby Doll episode. But they're talking to Paul Dini. He's talking to Paul Dini, and he says, Paul Dini says something about like, there's some people out there that can like really close to what the shows look like, and like it's impressive. But I really wish that they would just do their own stuff. And we had put out, I think, 3 issues at that time. Yeah, I think that we had put out like 3 issues at that time. And so I was like, is he talking about us? Oh my God. Like it's possible he wasn't, but it's also possible he was.
Yeah, he could be talking about Dark Knight Adventures. That's the other kind of bigger project that's similar to Legacies. That was hosted the World's Finest Online for a while. But it's definitely fan-made, non-canon. It's our own head canon. And we're going to do our best to fit it to the established canon.
We treat the DCAU as canon. The DCAU does not treat Legacy.
Yes, exactly. But every time there's a new thing, like as we've been writing this, Batman and Harley Quinn came out, Justice League versus Fatal 5 came out, and these are things that we've had to reassess our story plans and try to figure out how to weave
Joker,
it in.
Batman TMNT, all this stuff, new editions.
I tried to reference Batman TMNT in the Scary Things issue with Scarecrow, but we ended up cutting that line.
Yeah.
But then Maddie doesn't really like the continuity for that issue.
No, it doesn't work anyway. So. We've already created our own endgame branching time, so why not?
Yeah.
So
Jay's asking about Hawkgirl. Headcanon for Hawkgirl. We have Hawkgirl's and Batman's relationship is interesting because even in Secret Origins, when she first appears, he sees her and he's like, "Hawkgirl, what she's doing here?" And that would assume that the two of them had met sometime in the past. So
when Batman's not in the next episode, or Batman would only say he's busy, and Hawkgirl's like typical. So they know each other. They've had some sort of interactions that we've never seen before.
Yeah, if I want to bring that into Legacies, we've got a fun little 6-pager detective story between Batman and Hawkgirl to show their first meeting.
Set in the BTAS.
Yeah. So fingers crossed we can get there because it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, so back to Prebirth.
Yeah, let's
And
just
just the
start going through it.
2019. Yeah, we can go through the issue. Let me pull it up. But
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of talk about the other 2019 stuff and loosely, the first 2 chapters are still being drawn right now. You're doing part 1.
It's right over
Mark
there.
Daniel Martinez is doing part 2, and that is another Batman and Gordon centered issue. It's going to show Gordon finally retire from the Force. That'll be cool. The first part and so there's 6 overall parts to this 2019 sort of special series that we're doing this year.
Yeah.
And the first and the 6th go together sort of as bookends to reveal a larger plot that ties back to even issue number 1 that we put out with Bruce and Terry and Kronos and all that.
Which is
so
good to follow up on that, because we've kind of just starts of like 4 different plot threads, and they just take years to finish them. But
it's gonna be a long burn for sure.
But before we continue too far, if you want to check out the comic, if you haven't yet, it's at DCAU.com, and we're going to be referencing the latest issue, Prebirth, throughout this little chat here.
Maddie's saying we'd have to set it in Lost Years for Batman and Hawkgirl's meeting.
I thought it was 1995, but maybe I'm wrong. It was in 1997. I think it's 1997. It's 5 years. But yeah, okay. Well, I think we figured that out at the point. Still decided to keep Batman in his BTAS suit because it's possible he could still be wearing it, and I wanted to have that be like. I want to see Hawkgirl in like a slightly before Justice League costume with Batman in the BTAS suit. That'd be a cool team up. So.
Jay asked what the BTS Hawkgirl would look like, and it would be probably really similar to that Hawkgirl design that Bruce Timm did with like the whole group at the Justice League.
Yeah,
but maybe like a little more true to her, like yellow and green colors rather than the brown.
Yeah, well, I think I did a combo of that design that you're talking about. The one
on your
like,
DeviantArt
where
page.
it was like the question and all those people.
Yep.
It was a combo of that and what she looked like in that pilot episode that never aired, with all the Young Justice people like Impulse and Robin and whatever. Yeah. So we'll figure it out when we get there. So Prebirth. This was drawn by Marcelo Milikai. He's done a couple other issues for us. He's really great. We've talked before about how like he and I have like comparable understandings of like the Bruce Timm style, the DCAU style. Whenever I say Bruce Timm style, I really don't think that I have a handle on literally the Bruce Timm style, because if you look at his like own artwork, it's very Jack Kirby inspired. It has a lot more like deep shading and stuff like that, versus like a handle on the DCAU style or like the Justice League style or whatever. Is a lot more simplistic and made for animation. But yeah, Marcelo's great. He's done he did the 2 Powers family related issues, and it's fitting that he does this one because they also make a
that was intentional.
and
but
Powers
that be right. Yeah, it was fun to bring him back. He's kind of become the unofficial Powers subplot artist. So speaking of Powers, there's obviously Derek Powers is the person who grows up to become who we see in Batman Beyond. He becomes Blight. So his parents that are referenced in these earlier issues, Asylum, Powers that Be, and then his mother, Jerry Powers, is in this issue as well. They are both not original characters for Legacies. Jerry spun out of Scott Snyder's Batman run during the New 52. It was the Super Heavy story arc where Commissioner Gordon ends up becoming Batman. He's got this sort of chappy robot-looking bat suit, and that was created by Powers Tech. And Jerry Powers is the one who gives Gordon that suit. So she first appeared in those books, and Scott Snyder's been doing a few things to bring in Batman Beyond into the mainstream comics. Even most recently in the Batman Who Laughs #6, Commissioner Gordon and his son both wear prototype Batman Beyond suits for a second. And then, they do. There's been a few other Easter eggs here and there.
Jerry's not like blatantly said to be Derek, like she doesn't
Right.
have a kid yet or anything, but I think
Right.
that it's just assumed that's the point
And
of having her exist or whatever.
yeah, and Scott Snyder never really did a whole lot with her character past that story arc, so it's possible maybe he'll bring her back for something and introduce a baby Derek Powers. I could
Yeah.
see that happening. Um,
Our plan originally was to have Derek Powers be a baby when we introduced Wayne. We wanted to have this moment of holding baby Derek, and then he throws up all over him.
he
But
still
then we
throws up all
realized
over him.
he does. We had to keep that in, but we did the math, and we still kind of stretched it a little bit that he would only be like 50 something by the time of Batman
Yeah,
Beyond, even though he had white hair.
and
But Steve
so
Martin, okay,
right, and in Prebirth here, he'd be closer to his like 30s because he's
yeah,
about like 12 or so in Powers
yeah,
That Be.
15 or something, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so in his 30s here, 50s in Rebirth
yeah.
Part One. But yeah, talk about Warren Powers, the father. We see him briefly in Powers That Be. That issue, he's one of the scientists there. He
Mm-hmm.
is. This is the first time we've ever seen him in a comic, but he was his name was referenced, and he was going to be in the Batman Adventures Volume 2, number 15.
Yep.
That was that series with the Justice League style Batman, and in number 15, that was a Mr. Freeze story. And it still worked out that way, but in the original script, Powers Tech was going to be much more involved. You can read all about this in a behind the scenes interview on DCAU.com, which was previously World's Finest
Mm-hmm.
Online. They have a special Batman Adventures subsite, and there's an interview. I think his name's Jason Hall. I could be wrong. With last name's Hall for sure.
Yeah.
And he's talking about his script that he wrote for that. He also did a couple other Mr. Freeze issues and Gotham Adventures and stuff. But this issue would have had Warren Powers be Derek's father. He would have fished Mr. Freeze's head out of the Arctic Ocean and brought him to Powers Tech, where we see him in the Batman Beyond episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of like play off that idea in the Powers That Be issue and just like skip ahead to like, oh, he got him, and we talk about how he fished him out and brought him there.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's all we ever knew about him was that he was
yeah,
going to be, he was just going to take Mr. Freeze's head, and his last name was Powers. But we're kind
that's
of
right.
winding him into our other little plot threads,
Hmm.
which is sort of hinted at in this issue.
Yeah,
But
I
don't give it
forgot.
away.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I will say, as far as the overarching plot of Legacies go, it's we're obviously jumping around timelines and kind of like spending a little time here, a little time there.
Mm-hmm.
Trying my best to build the plot threads and keep it moving issue to issue. But in my head, there's two major story arcs, and the first one begins in issue number 0 and number 1, where it's Bruce and Terry. They're finding Kronos, and there's obviously this sort of more cosmic thing at play that
Yeah.
they've freed Kronos to help them with. There's a giant spaceship in the sky at the end of the issue. So that's like one plot thread that will be moving on, while the
Yeah.
other main story arc picks up in issue 2 with Checkmate, and it's kind of the more immediate Earthbound geopolitical stuff going on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see that start to play out eventually. And I don't think it's too big of a spoiler to say it'll culminate in the near apocalypse of '09.
Yeah.
So I just said that.
Yeah. We have our like ideal layout of the comic. And our
Yeah,
sort of like halfway point is near Apocalypse of '09, and then
right.
our big climactic finale for the end. Um,
Ties it all back to number 1.
yeah. But
So
so this issue, Prebirth, there's a handful of Easter eggs that we tossed in throughout. I mean, other than just continuing to see Bruce Wayne in the Beyond Bat suit is pretty cool. On page 1, we
mm-hmm.
have a panel of Commissioner Gordon, or he's not Commissioner anymore, but James Gordon, at his desk at home, and he's kind of listening into Batman. He's talking to Batman as Batman's breaking his way into his own company, and
Yep.
we're basically alluding to that he's still like they don't know, or Gordon does not know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, but he is sort of like hinting at it here in this conversation. Like Bruce Wayne has always provided money for my stuff. Like there's
Uh,
not, if you catch my drift. And
Gordon's writing a book about him. If he doesn't
yeah,
make the connection, I mean,
yeah,
like, you got to do something to.
he'll find the information in the middle of what he's doing. Yeah,
It's not. It's obviously not going to be in the book, but he's
yeah,
piecing things together as he's writing this thing, and Yeah. Did we mention how
Yeah.
the news at the very beginning, all the blue um, captions are from the actual news report in the
Right.
Rebirth Part 1? And so we were suggesting, like, since this is earlier in the day from the actual events of the episode, this would
Yeah.
be like the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah.
Whereas later, that'd be
They
the 10 o'clock news.
rebroadcast the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that was my only nitpick of the script was how is it happening right now? They reran the news. What?
we need one of these buttons now with like the egg baby sound. That's what
Yeah.
comments are saying.
I can't do
I can't do it either.
it. I'm not going to do that every time.
Goo goo gaga.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, in this Gordon panel, there's a handful of Easter eggs that we see Barbara Gordon on the left. That I'm on page 1. I mean, I think it's the 3rd page. There's the cover, the title page, and now I'm on page 1. We got Barbara Gordon on the left. She looks like how she did in New Batman Adventures. She wouldn't look the same way in 2019, but I kind of figured that
Right.
she stays like he keeps that photo of her. Like that's my girl back in her, college days or whatever. Like when
I guess
like
yeah.
it's a baby. Yeah.
We haven't designed what
Big
she looks
baby.
like in 2019 yet, but I could see
No.
her like going for the shorter hair now.
Yeah,
She
it's
has
getting
later.
there.
Same
That
red
seems to
color and
be
stuff.
a common theme in when I'm like
Yeah.
designing. Okay, so women win the DCAU, and now 20 years later, what do
You
they
give
look
them the
like?
cut,
They got
the
short
mom
hair.
cut.
Yeah,
They've got the
exactly.
mom cut.
I
Yeah.
gave Lois Lane that, which is you'll see in the next issue. But also on his desk, we've got the phone from Batman: Rise of Sinzu that Batman uses
Which
to
is
talk
like
to Gordon.
20-year-old tech
Yeah,
by this
already.
point.
Yeah,
It's
but
like 25-year-old tech.
Gordon still can't figure out how to use it properly or whatever.
Yeah.
There's also case files on the desk, which Marcelo told me is supposed to be Two-Face there up top, a Harvey Dent
Yeah. Okay.
pre-Two-Face.
Okay.
And then we got Nora Freeze
Nice.
in the little
The laughing fish.
the laughing fish.
Nice.
And I think this office is an original Marcelo. We end up giving Marcelo like, hey, put Batman in a room. I don't know what the room looks like. Just make it up. And Marcelo does a great job of like
He does.
designing a room. Like he put a
You only
this
need minimal
there.
backgrounds,
Yeah,
But maybe
but
that's
this
like
is not.
Gordon's. Yeah, we've
It's
never
not
seen that before.
his. Yeah, it's not his like police headquarters desk because
Right.
he
Right.
wouldn't be there anymore. So
Yeah, he's retired. Okay.
and then Gordon's design in general is exactly how it was in New Batman Adventures, but he has less hair because he was already ancient in New Batman Adventures, and then we're jumping like another 15 or 20 years or whatever. So it's just like this, yeah, like oh, he'll be dead pretty soon, kind of a thing. Spoilers. What else we got here? I'm trying to think of
he's
on page.
old.
Yeah, I think that
I
was
was gonna
pretty much it
say
for page 1.
Gordon's writing the Batman Chronicles is the
Mm-hmm.
title of the book, and that's something I picked up. I believe it was Batman. I think it was number 400. It was this big issue that came out in the late 70s, early 80s. I don't remember exactly when, but I read it on the DC Universe app, and it's like a sort of potential future for Batman and Robin, where they've aged to the point where Batman's talking about retiring, and he's if he does retire, he'd become a governor of whatever state he's in. Like he's thinking about going into politics, and Gordon is writing a book called The Batman Chronicles.
Now, did that come out before you decided to call it that in the Legacy script, or was that a zeitgeist?
Well, it came out before I was born.
Well, okay, but you didn't happen upon it. I thought.
No, I did. I happened upon it as I was writing it. Yeah,
okay.
And so I was like, oh, this will be a great reference.
Yeah.
And Batman Chronicles has been the name of like a bunch of Batman graphic novel collections with some of the older stories, and there were a couple of other like Batman Chronicles books. They were like anthology books that came out monthly a couple years ago. So it's dealing
with that phone on his desk. Melissa Harris asked in the chat, "Do you guys think Batman: Rise of Sinzu is canon?" Yeah, I think so because we started playing it during the Comic-Con.
It's a long game. Yeah, we have some footage of us playing it, and that'll be funny to release later.
Yeah, we haven't gotten through enough of the game to problems, but I've watched all the cutscenes a couple of years ago and didn't come. So yeah, and then let's see, Matthew Shelley. Any plans to tie in the Starro possessed Superman Beyond? We don't know exactly what time Superman gets possessed by Starro. It's kind of up in the air.
In that Batman Beyond episode, he's wearing his original suit.
Yeah, no, he's not. You always
he's
get this
not.
wrong.
Why do I think
He's
that
wearing
every
his
time?
new suit, yeah. And he already has a little gray. He is the same exact character design as
Okay.
in the main part
So it
of the
wasn't too
episode. So
long before the
yeah,
episode
yeah.
where he
But
got
they
the
say it's
best.
been on him for years, Aquagirl. So
Right, but it was years.
yeah, it wasn't a specific number, but it was just years. So yeah, no. At some
3 years is
I
what the
don't
voice of
think.
God says.
Yeah,
It's 3 years.
but they're wrong. God is wrong. The what was I gonna say? Oh, I don't think we're gonna stick on like we're not gonna center a whole issue around like Starro getting on Superman or anything, but it would be interesting to at least do like a moment or something of a little squirmy thing on his chest and like what was
Yeah.
that? Nothing. I don't know.
I've loved Starro in
My
the
chest
current
just does
Justice
that.
League book where he's Jarro. He's like Batman's
Yeah.
best friend and keeps him in a little jar. That's really
Yeah, I like that. It's good stuff. All right, page 2 of the comic. We're in the off. Like I think this is supposed to be a separate from Bruce Wayne's normal office, but Veronica Vreeland has been running the company for him or helping him out. And
This is Veronica's office.
oh, okay, so it is literally for Veronica. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's running Wayne Enterprises essentially, and uh, in theory, she's been giving the Powers family secrets about the company because they kidnapped her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Bunny, who
And
we see at
my
the start of Rebirth.
my thinking, even though we don't spell what the secrets are, is that it's essentially like the research and development specs, like the kind of stuff that Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman's Lucius Fox would have been making for Batman back in the Dark Knight
Mm-hmm.
movies. Like
And
it's
your plan is to
revealing.
blackmail this person? Good luck.
Yeah, but she's basically revealed a lot of the Batman gadgets and tech that Wayne
Yeah,
creates, but without sharing that Bruce is
is
Batman,
Batman. Yeah,
but that Wayne Enterprises creates Batman stuff.
and we see in this scene that she knows, or she's figured it out anyway, that Batman
By
and
the
Bruce
end
Wayne are
of
the
the
same
scene,
person.
by
Yeah,
the last panel, yeah.
yeah. And we've got her here again. She's aged up. This is an example of a woman character that is not short hair when she's old.
Because
So,
Veronica's always been a really
yeah,
sexy character, so it's like
yeah.
we've tried to kind of keep that
Yeah,
energy
in
here.
theory,
Well,
it's hard to draw this, but in theory, she's gotten some Botox. She's tried to keep herself like as youthful as possible. She's still wearing like a kind of sultry. What did we compare it to? That movie with the cross the legs. You know what I mean? Instinct
right,
something
yeah,
instinct.
yeah,
Basic
yeah, and
instinct. I
she's
think. Yeah.
and so Maddie brought up a good question just now. How does well also spoils, skip a few pages, 2 more pages
Yeah.
from
It
now.
turns out she's an alien from Secret Origins. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the Imperium soldiers here. And so
We kind of retconned it slightly that when they absorbed the Martians' shape, either when they absorbed the Martian shape changing abilities, and they also kind of took the ability to read
they're
minds,
telepathic.
or they always have been and they've always been able to. Essentially, my like headcanon for it is like the one that took over for Senator Carter in Secret Origins. Why would he know how to present himself as Senator Carter? He can definitely look like him,
Right.
but he doesn't know anything about like, oh yes, General so and so, and he doesn't. How does he go back into his normal job without just seeming like a complete buffoon and not knowing what to do and everything? So I feel like they take the
That was
memories
my
of the
thinking
people.
too.
Yeah. And so they on page. I mean, I don't
That's
think
why
on
she
page
has
2,
that
but
childhood story. Yeah, back to page 2.
right.
She's got that childhood story of her running through the garden with Bruce playing tag. Which I was kind of thinking back to Rachel from the Dark Knight films, thinking because like Veronica Vreeland and Bruce grew up together as children.
Yeah, it's
Their parents knew
definitely
each
you. I
other.
think you're definitely like referencing Batman Begins, kind of a scene with the
Absolutely,
chasing
yeah.
through the
But that's when he falls into the well, and this was I didn't have him fall in the well because that doesn't happen in the DCAU. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
still though, yeah, it's a very similar thing. Like, yeah, she was a lot of fun to write. This
Because
whole
it's like a
scene,
mix of
yeah.
trying to keep the same voice as the character with knowing that she's gonna pretty quickly here lose her figure and morph back into the not
Yeah.
Imperium. Yeah, so page 3, I guess we could move on to. She's revealing that she's figured out Bruce Wayne and Batman the same person. And there's a lot of cool. I really like all the shots of Batman on this page. The way he's lit.
Oh, I do too.
Batman's lit.
Yeah.
And
especially
just
that final panel.
Yeah, and we got Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond suit is always cool looking because we barely ever got to see that. But
yeah, and it is obvious enough. Like you can definitely tell the distinctions between him and Terry.
Yeah, the chin, the chest.
Right. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, I was a little worried on page 2 and 3 that people wouldn't know who this character was at first, just the red-haired woman, and like talking about vows like she does at the end. I was like, maybe they could get confused with Andrea Beaumont.
Andrea, yeah.
You know, but
he calls her Ronnie and
calls her Ronnie on page 3, and then Veronica there at the end. And I was like, it's okay if there's like a delayed information, like, you know, by page 3 people can start to connect, and then later talking about Bunny Vreeland stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of almost not on purpose, but it's kind of one of those, like, you know, since we're seeing all these different character designs for these characters that have already existed, it's kind of when you jump into the Batman for the first time and you're like, who am I looking at? What is this character? Is this Bruce Wayne? Is this Harley Quinn? I don't know what's going on.
Right.
But you figure it out through context. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the way Mark added some cool glows to the lamp on these pages. It really helps. Like, and Marcelo's shading on it too is very like film noir kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is what I was going for too. Yeah, and I love the dialogue on page 3. This is like some of the most biting. I don't know. Like, I hope it was punch to Batman to be like, she insults him so much, like he never grew up.
Just this was last night.
8-year-old kid playing hero. Yeah.
I added the melting face on panel 4 because it kind of helped transition to her like not being able to hold the alien not being able to hold her form for too much longer. And maybe I shouldn't say. I was gonna say the first time that I showed you the effect, you're like, I think that just looks like she's having a stroke. And then, I had to change it a couple times before it looked good. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the lighting helps too, because now it's like a lot more lit on the shape changing aspect of the face, whereas it's normal on the
But yeah, so and then moving on to we got the next page. We got the splash reveal. Oh my God, it's not the Imperium, but it's Alien from the first episode.
It's one of those alien invaders. I don't know if we're actually gonna ever give them a real entity name.
we should make some shit up and canonize it in our own.
This you know, the original name of this story arc was called the Symbiote Paradox, which had nothing to do with Venom or anything. So we changed it to Anno Domini.
Yeah. We were going to talk about how I mentioned in the previous version of this podcast episode how I really like side Batman Beyond stuff because I feel like it fits in really well. To which you mentioned that was because in our heads kind of that like maybe ink is kind of connected to these aliens, like they took DNA from some part of the meteor crashes or something from that from Secret Origins to help create ink at some point. They've got the same kind of like squiggly eye. They're a gooey weird thing.
No, it's super similar. DT Films is asking about Batman wearing the tactical suit like the Justice League film, and we don't have any plans to put him in anything like that, but we're gonna bring in that like big heavy
armor
suit, the armor that he wears in the Batman Beyond episode
with the ink one. Blackout.
It's the ink one.
No, that's not the. It's disappear.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So we'll show him make that. That was actually our first Legacies like test issue that we did that we never put out. Remember, it was like 2 pages. It was like Superman comes to the Batcave.
Bruce Wayne working on that armor.
He was like he had a what was it, like some sort of blacksmith mask. I forget what those are called. You know.
Welding stuff.
Welding. Yeah, he was welding.
Welding.
That's it. I also really want to tell a story in like the next year or two that uses all the recent Batman animated like DC collectibles action figures that were announced, like Deathstroke, Red Hood, the Azrael Batman, and there was another Bat armor in that batch of figures that was based off the Dark Knight Returns. So I think it'd be fun to like find a way to squeeze all those together.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just like a wall of prototypes or something like that. Or we'll figure something out.
That's on the radar.
Yeah, Batman's line here, I don't think so. Stops now, and then it was a very nitpicky last to change it to ends because of Mask of the Phantasm, where they're fighting on the rooftop. They finally get to fight each other, and he says, "This madness ends now," and jumps on him. I wanted it to be a mild callback to
little
that
reference there. The bats will bleed over and over and over again, and Forever and Infinite Loop has a lot going too that I won't reveal yet because we'll learn more about that later. But there's dialogue's definitely intentional. Panels 2 and 3. I keep memeing these. We should share these publicly at some point.
But now that there's the final version.
It's basically the Frodo meme where it's like, find
all right,
keep your secrets.
Yeah.
That's basically the what Batman says when he kicks the alien.
Rhett says, any updates on the infamous yellow bat? If by updates you mean like when I did my video on all the different batsuit designs and how they work and what's canon and whatever, I mentioned how we've been trying to start to get an interview going with Dan Reba. He's one of the Justice League directors who's also on Batman the Animated Series, and we haven't tried very hard to get the interview for a while. Kind of dwindled away, but I tried again. But I was just chatting with him about it. I sent him the video, and he said he like hadn't laughed that hard in a long time, and then told me how it was totally an error. Like it's just in the background. Like whoops. So he's like, it's exactly. So just like confirmed.
That's great. Well, the last panel on that page has a coloring Easter egg.
Mark Martinez, who helped. He in the Fatal 5 commentary, they make a joke about how the Javelin control panel is colored like red and then a stripe of yellow and more red, and it looks like Plastic Man. And so we did the same thing here, where maybe Plastic Man is just disguised as all these different like electronic devices throughout the DCAU.
It's the first time. No, I guess if Fatal 5 is the first time we ever see Plastic Man. Here's number 2.
Yeah.
Elo O'Brien is in the Batman Adventures comic.
Right. Yeah, he's in there somewhere. Yeah, Plastic Man's just been hiding out on various screens and whatever. Next page is all Batman talk.
Chatting with the powers.
Yeah, where they reveal Batman's there, but they haven't been able to hear anything, so they don't know.
Which is why they don't know his identity. Yep,
we had very to like deliberate. Like we did not hear what you said, though, so we don't know. Yeah, because I think that was the original thing. Was like, wait, so Derek Powers knows Batman is Bruce Wayne? Like, shouldn't this have been a bigger thing? And Batman Beyond, like, oh,
yeah,
whoops,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't know that, can he? Yeah.
This is kind of fun though. When Marcelo was drawing it, thumbnails for us, like the preview images, the rough sketches, and we still had Derek was like a teenager, and Jerry looked like how she did in the other comic, and none of us caught that should not be how they look, and so he started drawing this. Like, wait, shouldn't Derek be like in his 30s and Jerry's like old now? It's like, oh man. So I think we nicknamed her Geriatric here, and she's in a wheelchair now, so it's all good. We figured it out.
Well, she's definitely passed away by the time of Batman Beyond.
Sure, yeah. She's like modern day Alfred age in this, I would say, or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then I guess we do the Power Girl joke on there.
Yeah, we know that was a fun little reference, right? Because it's Super Babes Cafe.
Yeah,
Batman and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So, yep. So we put the little reference there. There's a Robert Kane Memorial Bridge.
Yeah.
It's Bob Kane, creator.
Oh
mostly creator. Mostly.
50% creator of Batman. Yeah, 75%.
Maybe you gotta give a lot of credit to Bill Finger.
Yeah. So. And again, I really liked how Batman page is very.
Yeah, the green glow is great too for like a sort of a blight.
Yeah, I was trying to keep that theme of the screen would anything powers related was always had a greenish tint to it.
Matthew Shelley asked if we'd ever consider Plastic Man for some Legacies comics, and yes,
Definitely. Yeah, I
definitely.
already drew him on the one I've been working on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he doesn't do
he's
a
gonna
lot, but
be
he's going to be there.
he'll be around for these 2019 issues, and then I
Mhm.
have another one set earlier. I haven't written it yet, but it's gonna be a story with Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I
He's
want to say with that.
there. Yeah.
He'll be
Yeah.
around.
And let's see, is there anything else I want to check on here real quick? A kid in the power, didn't the squishy aliens absorb memories? Yeah, that we talked about that, or we assume that they did by our standards. How does the alien? We talked about that. With Justin Horowitz, would you ever consider making an issue that has Lucius Fox finding out Bruce is Batman since he doesn't know in the animated series? Lucius Fox was barely a character in the DCAU. Like he's in like 3 episodes maybe, and when he was in the Dark Knight movies, I honestly like didn't know who this character was because I wasn't familiar with Batman comics too much at the time. And then I went back and watched Batman the animated series all over again. It was like, oh, he is. This is a character that I've just never remembered. I don't know if we'll make the time for him.
Isn't there a Fox company in Batman Beyond?
Yeah, Foxteca. Yeah,
Foxteca. So
we kind of assume is maybe run by like his family or his son or something because
he's got Luke. Luke is his son who becomes Batwing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible we'll bring in Lucius Fox, but it may just be like a cameo or something. I'm not sure if we'll make the time to devote an entire issue to that kind of a thing, but
Rhett M asked if Plastic Man, if we could make a Plastic Man episode or movie, DCU actors returning, what would happen?
Mm-hmm.
I would first want Tom Kinney to be the voice of Plastic Man. Wasn't he Brave and the Bold?
I think he was. I think he was Plastic Man in that like Plastic Man animated series pilot that never happened or something. Yeah.
Well, I think it's on the DCU
app. Yeah, or it was like a DC Nation thing.
DC Nation. But yeah, it'd be fun to have him as the voice actor, and then like Batman, just have some detective characters in there, like
his foil, Batman's foil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and get some more, get Nightwing in there, get Huntress and all the Gotham people.
Elongated Man could be on a mission, and Plastic shows up. What are you doing here? We don't need 2 stretchy guys.
They're just reiterating. Get out. We have a stretchy guy.
Yes, we don't need you. He's got this weird sidekick too named Woozy Winks who'd be funny to use. He's like the Otis to Lex Luthor in the Superman 70s movie. So that would be a weird sidekick. Maybe have him as like an agent of Argus, and the Plastic Man gets wrapped up with Woozy Winks as an Argus stuff. This is my pitch.
What was that? There's some Plastic Man villainous that I wanted in that big. We have an issue coming up.
Oh yeah, Lady
with a bunch of villains. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like a very noir looking.
And she had a very easy to translate
skin,
to kind of look. Yeah.
We'll still have her in that crowd scene. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay, we should talk about the final page of the issue. A lot of thought went into getting this to be what it ended up being. It was always a 9-panel grid Watchmen style of the opening of Rebirth scene, but we kind of compressed it into 6 panels for that, and then 3 panels devoted to hashtag keep epilogue a secret at the end of the issue here.
And Maddie Washburn had the idea to kind of expand this to really show the events of the day. Because originally it ended with that first panel of Batman flying over that familiar warehouse from the opening shot of the episode. This script was originally written so that page 1 was split into 2 pages. The first 4 panels with Batman crashing into that building was page 1, but the Gordon stuff is page 2. So we condensed that together to make room for the new page 6.
Yeah.
And I really like the way it turned out there.
And someone in the Discord had asked me about, or asked in general about, like, because we have Amanda Waller here in the epilogue flashbacks to kind of halfway between her JLU look and her elderly epilogue look. And they're asking, like, why would she be doing this like the same day as Batman is retiring? And I think we kind of it's a kidnap hour. He's here in the chat. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about how the last three panels aren't necessarily happening like at that exact same moment as Batman is retiring, but they're in chronological order of events. They're happening during a time of like Batman, when he gets his DNA, he left it all over town. He's in his he's in his Justice League suit. We see that he's sitting in the back of an ambulance. So that Cadmus collected his DNA at some point during like JLU time or shortly after, sometime before he changed into his new costume, because we actually don't know when exactly he got that costume. We know that it's like probably not too long before Rebirth, because I think there's some line in Batman Beyond about some of the servos in the suit being over 20 years old or something like that. But
yeah.
So anyway, it's the epilogue. I mean, I shouldn't be talking about this, but epilogue already in the flashbacks of like, you see Amanda Waller at this age when she says she starts Project Batman Beyond. But then we also see her in the same exact character model when Phantasm's like, I'm not going to kill the McGinnises. I won't do this for you. And that's already like, Terry's 8 years old. Like, why would Amanda Waller look exactly the same? So it's kind of just what am I trying to say? Like a suspension of disbelief a little bit for Amanda Waller looks like this around 2019, and maybe this is a couple years later or something like that, where she's like, hey, Batman's not been around for a while. Usually calls me every day and tells me stuff, but I haven't heard from him, so I guess I'll start Project Batman Beyond.
There's also these like cases of bodies that are there in the room, and we obviously don't see Terry's not a body. No. He had his DNA rewritten.
He's a real baby boy.
Yeah, which happens a few years after this episode. Like, it's probably like he was 17 in Batman Beyond, so it's 3 or 4 years from now. So Maddie mentioned that
I'm noticing
this idea was actually from the Hush Beyond story arc, because the very last page or two of that story, we see Amanda Waller talking to an Ebert Thawne,
right?
One of the relatives to the Reverse Flash, and they're in Cadmus, doing Cadmus-y, cloney things. But yeah, it's like, but this panel in particular, the panel 7 here, was like a reference to Bizarro, the clones from Superman the Animated Series and stuff. So
yeah, and we see in that one shot in epilogue where she stands there and talk in the voiceovers talking about Project Batman Beyond. There is like a small row of like faceless bodies in little cases that are never explained. I think that's probably just just put some stuff in the laboratory kind of a thing from whoever designed the episode, but it could conceivably be clones of other characters that are historically clones in the DC universe that we may or may not be following up on in the future.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good. Nice teasing there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the comic. Even though this is a really shorter ones, it was a really fun one. I think last time we discussed this, we were talking about asking the general audience. You don't have to tell us right now in the live chat, but yes, Mark, we did mention Plastic Man on the laptop now that you're here.
We talked a lot about Plastic Man.
Yeah, we should. So anyway, we were going to ask, we don't have to tell us right now. You can let us know in the Discord or social media at DCAU Watchtower or anything. What is your preference for Legacies issues lengthwise? Like, do you prefer the 12 issue or the 12-page issues where we get a bit meatier of a story? They take us longer to make, or these six-page issues where we can get them out there a little bit quicker and they are more like to the point of this. This is the exact thing that we want to tell you about, because we're looking at how our issues list 0, 1, 2, 3, special, 4, special. Like the numbering system is kind of.
Should we go back and just number them in order?
Should we just number them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like or 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. And then from then on, we just whatever the next one is the next number. Like, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make more sense.
So if you have opinions on that, let us know. Also, if you're listening to this in the future, which, by the way, the audio version of this podcast will probably be out tomorrow on iTunes and the Watchtower Database website. On the Legacies website, I do want to mention there's other pages on here. There is the issues section where you can read all the 9 issues that exist so far. There's also an extras page where there's a playlist of all the promo videos we've done for the comic, and there's also original character models that I or Mark or Marcelo have done for characters that we've introduced to the comic that either didn't look this way on the show before or are brand new. Like we from number 0, there's a weapon or a Thunderer or Weaponer from Cord.
Right.
We've got Zeus from number 1. And then all the Checkmate people. We did a little bit of a redesign on Batgirl, stuff like that. So those are kind of fun.
Kronos has a new
Yeah,
suit.
Kronos in his
based off the 90s.
The other Kronos, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also smartphone wallpapers. If there's a cover or splash page from each new issue that would look cool as like, a smartphone background, I put it on there. There's also one PDF of Easter eggs from number 0. We need to do more of those. I wrote out like every single little Easter egg from number 0.
It was fun.
Yeah, and then the last thing on that page is some just miscellaneous. There's a page process. You can see it all the way. One of the pages from number 2, all the way from the super duper rough sketch that Ted drew for me and sent to me up to the final page with effects and text and everything. So yeah, and then there's also my page full of UN World Assembly ambassadors.
There's a lot
because I drew them all separately. Yeah, that page I drew just the World Assembly like bleachers, and then I drew. So there's a bunch of people that are like meant to be there. Sanders top left. We got my grandma.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. So
this is like back in 2016 too. We're trying to put that energy out there in the world. Is that Anderson Cooper? Second row down.
It is.
On the right.
Yep.
Okay, I thought. And then
that was one that was actually a guy that was already there.
Oh really?
Said
he just kind of looks like him.
Yeah, we said. Well, yeah, you had said that looks like Anderson Cooper, and so then I purposely colored it like Anderson Cooper. So
that's there's an Atlantean. Is that like Harjavati from Bialia? I think down there maybe.
Yeah, we got what's his face? Oh my god, I can't even remember already. He's in Young Justice, the fire guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Geoforce. Brian Markov.
Yeah. Prince Brion. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. Row 4, second to the left.
Yeah.
And who else is interesting? Oh yeah, there's a guy from Kondak down there.
Yep. And my grandma's the final one on the list, who had just died like a month before. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I paid homage to her. She should probably have not been on the World Assembly.
Well,
but yeah, there's all that kind of cool stuff on the Legacies website if you haven't checked it out. Again, that's legasiesdcau.com. We want to move on to a quick comic relief before we jump into other questions that have not been covered yet. I'm going to start talking about the stuff on this segment that I watched, because I watch a lot more stuff than I read. And you end up reading stuff. You can choose to do whatever you want.
I read a lot more stuff than I watched, yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching, I've done it 3 times. Black Mirror Bandersnatch. It's
you just got around
interactive.
To that, huh?
Yeah. I know it's a few months old, but I've been hearing good things about it, that it's really trippy and weird. And yeah, I've played it 3 different times, and I've had a completely different experience every time. But now I'm like in the I shouldn't do it because I do not have time to do this, but I really want to start doing like a bracket system of like trying to figure it out, trying to find every single way that you can go or whatever. People have already done that, but I feel like there's still a bunch of unexplored directions.
Actually, what you could do is once you play through it, it lets you go back and change your decisions, so you can actually see all of them.
But sometimes. So, okay, for instance,
I've gotten every ending. I've checked every ending, and I've.
That's what I think I have too. But
the Netflix ending.
Yeah, but the thing that I think is going on though is I think that there's more options than we may know about. So the very first choice is like, do you want to do this breakfast cereal or this breakfast cereal?
Right.
If you choose Sugar Pops or whatever it is, you get that entire story. If you choose Frosted Flakes, you get that entire story or whatever.
No, it's
Or
pretty
it's
similar.
similar, but there are little things that are different. Like when he enters the start, the guy's saying he's get me a this food and this coffee, and then the other version is saying like get me a this. There's just little differences, but if you play one of them all the way through and then come back and choose a different cereal, it's even a third slightly different version. So like I've noticed things that have changed where like when he goes to the therapist's office, the first time around, he's just talking to her and says, you give him the pull earlobe or scratch face or whatever, and he, stops himself like, oh my God. But if you do one cereal and come back and do that time, he just starts talking about like, no, we've definitely had this conversation before. Like I've already told you about this or whatever. So it's like, there's even more. There's so much more that I haven't see all of it. So.
Does the Bandersnatch creature show back up except for that one time?
No, there's two different times.
There are two times. What's the other time besides the apartment?
I guess we're kind of just spoiling the choices if anyone wants to do that. The first time he shows up is you choose for Colin to jump off the balcony instead of you. And then the second time, and the second time is if you go through whatever series of events gets you to putting in the code for the dad's like lockbox. And I can't remember what choices we made to get here, but one of the packs instead of the two normal options. Like it was like toy or something else, but this time it gave us the option of packs. And when you put in packs, then the Bandersnatch monster shows up again.
Oh, right, like the X, like the demonic one.
The lion,
But the PACS is
it's a different
like the conspiracy one.
Yeah.
And then the Netflix one, like Matthew Shelley was saying, that's when you realize like, oh, I'm in a Netflix show.
Yeah.
And we gotta give these guys some entertainment.
Yeah. And the action scenes, Yeah, I chose Jump Out the Window during that
nice
TV show or something. I don't know if you saw that ending. So apparently that's one of the handful of endings. I didn't think that was like an ending. I thought that was just another like, oh, mystery unfolding kind of thing, but I guess not. So anyway, all right. Well, that's what
all I know is I killed his dad so many times.
I gave Jessica the options the first time. I was like, you do it this time, I'll do it the next time, and it kept being like walk away or kill dad, and I was like thinking definitely kill the dad, and then she's like, I won't kill the dad, and the next time was definitely kill the dad. No, I don't think so. So I just kept going on like that for way too long.
Yeah,
I killed the dad immediately.
Yeah, you got to.
What you've been reading or watching or whatever?
I read Superman Year One by Frank Miller. It was not very great, but like I still kind of enjoyed it. It was mainly like it starts off everything we've already seen before. Superman as a baby leaving the Krypton, is exploding and stuff, and he lands on Smallville, and like most of the issue is him as a teenager dealing with like his buddies getting picked on by bullies and him trying to figure out how to stop the bullies, to stick up for his friends, but without like really doing too much to, hurt them or anything. And so it's between that and then like a romance with Lana Lang. And so it was like a kind of a cute story set in Superman's teenage years, but just like
this is set in the same world as Dark Knight Returns, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, which I think is weird to show an origin for rock of Dark Knight Returns is like the thing that you can hold on to understand where you are in this world is like, yeah, Superman. Okay, I got it. I know who Superman is. Like he works for the president, I guess, in this version or whatever. But Batman's he's making all these weird ass old man angry decisions. But at least Superman is Superman. I understand what's going on. But then if we're showing Superman has a different origin, a different life or whatever than we're used to, then that's a little bit weird, I think. But maybe Frank Miller's just running out of ideas.
It's not a different origin at all, though. It's just like retracing his steps. Although it ends with Superman like he's not even Superman yet. Like he leaves Smallville, he's about to go join the Navy and get like experience as a soldier. So that's probably where the next issue will pick up. And I don't think that's ever anything to do before.
Yeah.
Maybe they did that in Man of Steel. They kind of alluded to like he in Man of Steel, he definitely went off and like worked on a ship and
Yeah,
sailed
and
the
he was like a
world for a
bartender or
while.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still kind of doing that. Like he's going off to explore the world, but he's doing that by joining.
That's the thing that Batman does, man. You can't make Superman
Batman would join the
worldly.
Navy. I mean, Batman. Yeah, Batman's going off and finding his own teachers, and Clark is just trying to do what he can. I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of options. He doesn't have money.
Mm-hmm. He's got the mustache he's got to take care of. Okay. Do we want to move on to the questions, because there's quite a few of them and we should get through them as quick as we can, and then we'll be done. And I'm glad that this has been going swimming. I'm going to jinx it now.
I'm glad this has
been going pretty well. Yeah.
If it stops working now, we've had a good podcast. Oh, Lego Pete 3 asked about Flash Year 1. I read the first issue. It was cool. Basically retracing the same steps, but like Barry Allen gets struck by lightning in the lab and all that. What's kind of cool though is you get to see him like explore his powers, and like he runs through all his shoes. So the issue covers him sitting on a big pile of tennis shoes that are all burnt, which is kind of funny. And it ends with him going to this like far future where Barry is there as an old man, and he's got this new Flash costume that's sleeveless, and he's got a big white beard.
Ooh.
And the Turtle has an army that's taken over the future. And that's when I was like,
Turtle Army.
I don't need to read issue 2 of this movie.
The Turtle was played by whoever plays Chief Tyrrell in Battlestar Galactica, which you wouldn't know, but I recognized in the CW Flash. So I was like, ooh, I like this, because I like that show. I'll start with Legacies questions, because they're sort of related to what we were talking about. In the Discord, Multi Moon Kong Jr. had said, if you could only make one more Legacy comic, what would it be? And I think probably I had said we would just jump and do the New Apocalypse of 09 in like a 20-page issue or something.
It would be a wrap up.
But yeah, you had mentioned an idea of just doing a similar comic to number 0, but it's like the finale version of that, where it's like Phantom Stranger voiceover, and then everything happened.
Right.
We didn't get to do this.
That's a case of if we were ever like, you know what, there's no way we can wrap up this project. So let's do some sort of satisfying ending. That's the only scenario where that issue would happen. If DC were to be like, hey guys, cut this out, you can't keep making this comic, then we wouldn't be able to do that final issue. And I'd probably just write a letter or something, just kind of explaining the intentions.
Like a video or something of here's what we were gonna do. Let's see. Quantum Fire, this was in the chat. Any Suicide Squad, Task Force X you guys got planned? Yeah, we definitely have Suicide Squad stuff.
Yes. Called the Suicide Squad, actually.
Yes.
Not Task Force X.
The Hoop Squad.
I could say the members, not to spoil anything too crazy, but we bring back Rick Flag and Captain Boomerang and Deadshot, the classics. But then also Harley Quinn and Bronze Tiger would be two additions.
This is sort of following up on the Batman Harley Quinn sequel comic, where it's alluded to that she will eventually be in the Suicide Squad. And Maddie just did a Vanishing Point episode recently on the possibilities surrounding that, with Harley's involvement around the same time as the Return of the Joker flashback. So that'll all kind of find its way into Legacies. Matthew Shelley, maybe in the time Bruce was Fox tried to take up the mantle, but people understand he isn't Batman himself. Okay. I guess that was an idea for how to put the Fox family into the comic. But yeah, again, we may do that. We may bring. Rhett M. I haven't been reading your comic. I will. Oh my God, Rhett! What have you been doing with your life?
Go read the comic, Rhett.
It's been up for like 4 years. Is Bart in it? If not, do you have plans to use him? Bart Simpson is an interesting character. He's Cal. He says cowabunga a lot. He rides a skateboard. I don't know
More of a Homer fan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, Impulse is going to be involved.
But how do you have a Bart Allen without a Barry Allen? That's the question.
We'll just have to find out, won't we?
You will have to. But yeah, he'll. I want to include him and the other teenage hero that we see in the Justice League promo, Cyber. Well, it's Cyborg, but we like to call her Cyber Girl.
Yeah, because we're perverts.
Yeah.
I think that was the last Legacy. I'll go through the rest here. This was from the Discord. Den Toons Comic had said, which, by the way, you should look up Den Toons Z Comic with underscores between that on Instagram. He does really good stuff. What Bat Family character do you think should get more development in the DCAU?
Nightwing.
Yeah.
Nightwing. Where's Nightwing?
Where is that guy? We got a lot in Batman.
Last we saw Nightwing, he was hooking up with Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
We
sure saw that.
He needs retribution. Yeah, something. Redemption.
Yeah. Marvel King, what would you guys like if another season of any of the DCAU shows was made? Zeta ending and maybe another season of Superman just to kind of do some post-legacy. A world where the world is afraid of Superman would be interesting. You're right. Captain Boomerang was gone from the test.
Yeah, we can't include him.
He's I forget my lineup. Part of the Hoop Squad. Yeah.
Maybe Enchantress. Throw her in there. Killer Croc.
I did that Suicide Squad DCAU style artwork a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I did an Enchantress witch kind of costume.
That made the rounds.
Yeah.
Did Suzuki instead of Katana.
Sakuri.
Yeah, I always misspell that when I write her in the scripts.
We did Chevrolet instead of
whatever.
Did you have an opinion on a season of the DCAU that you would like to see if there was more seasons made of something?
I would have liked another season of Superman. I would have. Yeah. Just to see more of the DCAU.
Some of the Superman season 3 or 4, whatever it wouldn't have been, ideas included stuff like Captain Marvel and Superman having a arm wrestle on the Watchtower that
would have messed it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good.
That would have been the worst way to just introduce the Justice League.
Probably then another Batman, see where they continue the story, and then maybe another season of JLU set in Batman, revolving around that.
Yeah, and I think I actually would have liked to see, because there was that version of the Justice League during the airing of Superman where they were on Jack in the Box toys and coloring books
with
and
Kyle
stuff
Rayner
like that. And which is canon now that he looked like that at some point.
That's true.
And Aquaman with his hook hand and Captain Marvel and stuff like that. But they were all just mildly different from what they actually wound up looking like. Hawkman was there. Yeah. And I'm glad we got what we got, but I also would have kind of liked to see that version where it's just staying in the New Batman Adventures Superman style and just continuing like that.
And that's all because back in the mid to late 90s, the DCAU wasn't its own separate continuity in a way. They were doing the books like Adventures in the DCU that were essentially taking these animated characters, putting them in with the rest of their book continuity characters. So it's only I think when Justice League and maybe the Superman cartoon started to really tie it all together that it became its own universe.
Because there was a really interesting thing that we found out from what's his name, the artist from that, John Delaney, that how it was never intended to CAU continuity. It just used just kind of use the cartoon designs because those are popular or whatever. But it's still just it was always set in the normal universe. Okay, we talked about Teen Titans Go. Lude Skeletor, do you think the JL reunion might center around the Rann-Thanagar War they kept alluding to in Fatal might be a cool way to get on Shire back together?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
That would be. I do want to see that. I don't know. I think I mentioned this before, that we have like mild insider information on something that might or may not happen with that story, but so we can't like talk about it. But I don't know if it would happen. I'm talking about when we talked to a certain person who writes things and how they said that they might be
Eric
doing
Carrasco.
yeah. Yes. And he said that we might see that story in a different format, but there's a possibility that we could see it. I think maybe. I don't know if that was probably some, because I think they talked about how that was an element of the movie script before they turned it into the DCAU, and it was going to be Hal Jordan mentioned there, not John Stewart. So that was already going to be like, yep, some of the Justice League is off fighting a Thanagar war. That's why they're not here to help you in this movie. But then it kind of just wound up being an interesting way to be like, oh, what? Like they're on opposing sides of the war potentially.
But they could be trying to bring peace together. That's kind of how the original Rand Thanagar war was. Yeah. Although, like, Shara Hall in the comics at the time was Hawkwoman, and she was very much like still with Thanagar in a leadership role, whereas Kendra Saunders was the girl who was with the JSA and JLA. Yeah. So it gets a little confusing with the Hawk people. But yeah, I'd love to see like the jail reunion tackle some sort of galactic war of point, or maybe even like the whole thing, but something epic and grand like that to really like push them into. I don't think I'd want Fourth World involvement necessarily, because Darkseid has been like, I mean, we already had a great culmination for his story arc in JLU, so I don't know. I feel like
there's not really a good way to bring him back. Yeah,
because he's always like the best big bad guy, but it's like
it would feel cheap to just insert him back in just for that. I think I had mentioned this to you before, that my pitch for a jail reunion movie is to literally call it Justice League Reunion and have it be set however many years in real time it's been, since like 13, 14 years since the conclusion of Justice League Unlimited, like the show. And so they're all kind of like older. They've been separated for a while. The Justice League is a different group of people. And so these are just like, some things happened that they need Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Jon Jon's Hawkgirl to come back together to do this one thing. And that would be a
maybe it's like maybe a secret is not like Identity Crisis or something, but something that they did back as a team, 15 years before.
That they didn't think would have repercussions.
Yeah, and then that way we can have flashbacks.
Yeah,
and it can overlap with the Return of the Joker flashback.
Yeah, remember back? And they'll just screw it up. Remember back 10 years ago when the Return of the Joker?
No, now Tim's like 25.
And he's just still a teenager. He's still 13. Batman's like ancient. That would actually be kind of funny if they explained that. Like, it was just like Tim is just, although I know he's old in Return of the Joker. Never mind. I was gonna say if Tim was just, it's 2060 and Tim is just 13 years old.
He's still a kid.
Yeah. Bob the Random Guy. You can make a Justice League 7 heroic characters in the entire DCAU, whether past, such as Jonah Hex or Soul Power, present, or future, like Warhawk or Bouncing Boy. As long as they either appeared or referenced to exist, they count. Who is your team? I think I messed up before when we answered this last time, where I said all present day characters. But I was treating it like a Pokemon team where I need a fire type, fire. I need a water type, Aquaman. I need a electric type, static.
I'm trying to remember mine real quick. I'm remembering the broad strokes.
Obsidian was dark type.
You had Obsidian.
Batman was normal type. I think that there was one more, maybe like Hawk something is flying type. I don't know. I made a dank Pokemon team.
Yeah, I need one more for mine. I'm almost done.
Yeah. Matty has a good point. That the thing that catches back up, Superman throwing a nuke into the sun, that Batman Beyond comic crossover that they had. Starboy's in there. What are you doing?
That's right. Oh no, totally forgot that.
So did Superman, apparently.
Yep. So my team, my
you had written this down. Okay.
I've got it.
Randall Savage,
Not Randall.
Killface, Stu Mason, Randall Savage,
Yeah, Randall Savage would be a good one on the team. No, I'm gonna have Aztec because he's one of my favorite characters. I really love the Grant Morrison book. Jessica Cruz will be my Green Lantern on this team. Bring in Mon-El from the future. And Nightwing is my vigilante type. Tickle, Clarion's walking,
Right.
talking cat.
Not Cheetah, not you have to
Not
choose
Cheetah.
specifically
Yeah,
Tickle.
it's gonna be Tickle. And then Kid Flash from the Flash Museum, whichever Kid Flash that
Which we
was.
decided is just a mannequin with a costume on it. Go, Kid Flash! And just...
That's my speedster. And then the last one to round it off is the Hand of the Creator.
Yeah. The most powerful being in the multiverse.
Yep,
He's on the
he's on my
Justice
team. And I forget which hand that is, but you can have the other hand on your.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Give me a hand, baby. Talking Hedgehog at DCAU Watchtower. What's your... So this is going along with my talking. So what did hedgehogs say? What sound does a hedgehog
They
make?
said Jesse Owens.
Yeah, thank you. What's your favorite non-DCAU animated film? Mine's Under. I think that's probably mine also. Everyone likes Dark Knight Returns, but it's just an adaptation of the comic. Just go read the comic.
I like New Frontier a lot too. That's another
Yeah.
adaptation, but it's really similar.
I think I said
Darwin
Gods and
Cook.
Monsters because it's not technically.
I like that one too. I liked Justice League Dark a lot. That was a fun one.
Yeah, Jessica bought me that. My wife, she bought me Justice League Dark because she thought I would like. Oh, this seems like something we would like to watch. So I just have the. I think it's a Constantine action figure that came with it.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
nice.
Yeah. And this one is from Jason Wacker. He had messaged Maddie. Oh, the other hand of the creators of Hook Hand. Yeah.
I imagine it more like Super Smash Brothers Crazy Hand. You know, there's Crazy Hand and Master Hand.
I really like that idea, though. Like,
yeah, the hook.
The Green Lanterns have a legend. No one can see the beginning of it. And then it just pans over slightly. There's supposed to be a hook hand over here.
And then it pans down, and there's a harpoon leg.
Yeah. And then it's just Aquaman.
Aquaman's the creator. Wow.
Okay, so anyway, this is from Jason.
I love
Wacker.
how everyone's calling you out for your mic problems now, James.
Oh,
this is a fresh breath of air.
Well, if you need to re-listen to this tomorrow on audio version, so be it.
Yeah, we'll have different audio tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so Jason Wacker, he had messaged Maddie separately on Facebook. If you want to to at us on social media, and we will see the questions, read them for the podcast. We don't have a lot of time to talk one-on-one with people, so we saved this for the podcast instead of answering it directly. He says, hey, first I want to say I love your guys' videos on Watchtower Database. They're really great and entertaining, though I had a question if you'd be willing to answer. Nothing big or anything, just me curious, how would you make a Superman movie if given the chance? Just make the Christopher Reeve movie again. Everyone just keeps saying that's the only good Superman movie. I like Man of Steel. It has its problems, but I don't know. I'm a fan.
I always thought, I used to think that it'd be really cool to bring Brainiac in and do the whole Kandor, Battlestar Kandor stuff.
Like
but
Brainiac's
then,
on Krypton.
Yeah, but he's been so used in Injustice 2 and Krypton, the show, all that stuff. So now I think it'd be more interesting to see Superman in this sort of geopolitical atmosphere, kind of like how what Brian Bendis is doing right now with the Leviathan story arc, where you see Checkmate and Argus and Cobra, all this sort of spy espionage intrigue going on. That's really fun to see, because you can put Lois Lane in a really cool investigative scenario, and then her father, General Sam Lane, could get wrapped up into it too. I'd like to see it go that direction. And then what was I going to say? Nope, that's all. That's my idea.
Okay, yeah. So you have way more thought out on this than I do.
A little bit, yeah.
I just want to see Superman do Superman-y stuff. I know it's a pretty hard character apparently in cinema, but I don't know. Superman the animated series did it pretty well. So just do that stuff. Michael, I forgot to bring this up in a second ago. Michael Lockman on Twitter. Is there any plan on a Legacies issue crossing over with the Gods and Monsters universe? They will make appearances. That is all I will say. And that was it for those questions. Now I'll go back to the questions from the live stream. DT Films, did you hear the rumors that Alicia Vikander is going to play Hawkgirl in Wonder Woman 84? I believe she's the chick that played Tomb Raider girl.
What? Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She'd be a good choice for Hawkgirl. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Is she like? I know this isn't necessarily historical for the character, but all the Thanagarians were like Hispanic, like Latino actors. Is she that, or is that just?
That
She
does
looks
not sound
more,
like.
but I don't know. Yeah, Vikander. Yeah, it seems more like a Stellan Skarsgård kind of name. So,
Yeah, she's Swedish. She's definitely
okay,
Swedish.
I called it.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't really matter though.
No.
In the comics, she's got red hair.
The part, yeah. Mm-hmm. Jaden Deland, which hot girl do you think is better, New 52 or pre? Pre, I guess. It's a little more muddied, but it's more classic.
Well, I like the classic one's great. I like the one we have right now, but she's very much a hodgepodge of all of the hot girls that we've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the one that was in Jeff John and James Robinson's JSA comic. That was Kendra Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the one in the New 52, like if you count, like I don't even know if she was in the New 52 until Metal. Yeah, when she was Lady Blackhawk and then became Girl at the end of that.
I think that was kind of a way to transition her into Justice League comics with the animated lineup, but I'm not complaining, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, I think if there's issues with the mic with my speaking, I think it's because these headphones apparently have a microphone in them, as we found out a couple episodes ago when Ted and Maddie listened to me pee during the podcast. So I think you're hearing it through the headphones. But next time I'll have it figured out. I'll either be through this or through the laptop. So although I probably shouldn't go through the laptop's mic because demon sounds that one time. So
oh yeah, that's right.
I'll figure it out. Rhett M again. What happened to Penny 2 in Earth Prime?
That was Alfred's daughter.
About?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alfred's daughter, Julia Pennyworth. She was in the Batman Eternal comic. That's kind of when Scott Snyder co-wrote that with James Tynion the fourth. That's a great question though. She was in the Star Batman book that was part of Rebirth.
Okay.
That was the last we saw.
Is there a Penny? Is Penny?
Penny one is Pennyworth.
I see.
That's like their code name. Like when they're talking on their comics, Batman can't be like, "All right, Alfred." If he's in the middle of like a fight or something, it's like, "Hey, Alfred." Someone's like, "Hey, Bruce Wayne has a butler named Alfred."
Yeah.
So he calls him Penny 1, and then Penny 2 is the.
Okay. They couldn't figure out that's the first half of Alfred's, but whatever.
I mean, that's. It's a little.
Hey, Fred. Oh, that can't be Alfred.
He must be talking to the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Barney.
Batman is Barney Rubble. What's the name of his, like, if Alfred's either like dead wife or maybe it's his sister? Who the hell is it in Batman and Robin where he's like, oh, that's the password to my stuff and I have a picture of her and
I don't remember her name.
Maggie?
Barbara Pennyworth.
No, Maggie is the woman that he dates in Batman. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Does Doom Patrol exist in DCAU? Asks Lego Pete 3. We don't know. Beast Boy, we think maybe exists, so maybe the Doom Patrol did. Yeah. And they also have action figures.
They have Mattel animated action figures. That's the closest we've gotten to seeing them in the DCAU.
Mm-hmm. And
trying to think if there's any Easter eggs or anything like for Rita Farr or Cliff.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Luke Varner, what do you guys think of DC Universe being the all-stop shop for DC? I don't know what is empty about it. I think maybe it's just that, like, I have noticed if I'm looking for a specific thing, it's not there. But if I am wanting to just, what's here? Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff, and I choose to watch something, then I feel like it's not empty. So, I don't know. I don't use it too much, honestly. I use it for like occasional Doom Patrol, and if I want to honestly, it's a laziness thing for me, I think, because it's like I have BTAS on Blu-ray. I think I have, except for Justice League on Blu-ray, I have everything in its highest quality. But if I'm just sitting on the couch and I don't want to walk the 4 feet to grab my box set, then I'll just go to the app instead and watch the stuff there.
I've been using it just caught up on Swamp Thing. That's definitely like my go-to way to rewatch DCAU stuff to do like legacy homework. I've been
it is convenient for
thing. Yeah, it really
here it is. Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to read more of the comics on there too because they have a huge library of books.
Yeah,
and that's like something I feel like I'm not doing enough just because I've like gravitated back and forth between physical comics and digital, and I've realized that I do prefer reading a book in my hands rather than like on the screen. And it helps my eyes too. Like I stare at screens all day, so I'm trying to like
currently I'm staring at 3 of them.
Yeah, me too.
4.
1, 2, 3. I've got 3 screens. And I would prefer not to read looking at a screen because that's like the worst thing you can do to your eyes is your sleep is like stare at your phone trying to
I do like that it's available for.
Yeah, and
I never want to go do it.
There's a lot of stuff on there that like I haven't read before, so I've like discovered some cool stuff and read things that I never thought I would get a chance to read. So I appreciate it for that.
And there's it is really helpful when we're doing, and I would just be like, oh, I really just need this clip, then just go screen record that 2 seconds of it, like popping in the DVD again to what. So it's helpful for many reasons. Rhett M again, how? That's the question.
It's a how question.
That's the whole question.
How could you? What gives you the right?
How do you two feel about a Batman Beyond set in the Injustice universe? I think it would be a simulation to the New 52 Justice Orders universe, but I want to hear from the DCAU channel. Oh, thank you. Although I don't know if that's a compliment or just a fact that we're the DCAU.
We are the DCAU channel.
Yeah. So Batman Beyond Injustice version. I
feel like the playable characters wouldn't be enough unless you had to like make new. Well, I mean, unless it was just like a comic set in that world in the future. It's just such a different present. I don't think it would lead to that same future.
Exactly. I think Batman is too, like Bruce in that version too, like I can't ever stop being Batman. I just have to find out a way to continue until I die.
Yeah. For some reason, like, and I haven't read a lot of the tie-in comics for that, but I feel like Earth could very easily just get blown up at some point, and then like there might not even be an Earth by the time that.
Yeah, by 2040, yeah.
Yeah.
Rhett also asks, quick question: why do you not have more subscribers? I don't know.
It's because we have technical difficulties. With our live stream,
that's exactly
it everyone away.
Yeah. Don't watch the previous live stream. I'll take that down after. Just watch this one.
And if you want to hear a live stream, James had his mic on when the episode.
I sure did. You can't access my P, but it is in. There's when we put up the LGBT video, a handful of people, and then it took until I think Saturday for it to bump back to where it was, and then past it to we passed 36,000. So obviously there's still enough people out there to
we're growing
don't know about us. So you can help that by sharing stuff and whatnot. Anderer Hasse, aka Rauber Fotzenrotz, that's a long name, asked us, are you going to watch the new Harley? Yes.
Me too.
We're talking about doing content on it. It'll be a little more difficult now that we know that apparently via the LGBT video, we know that Doom Patrol and Young Justice are like, the YouTube bots are like watching for that shit like hawks. So apparently we're not going to be able to use actual clips from the Harley Quinn series because it'll be the same situation, I think.
Demonetize. Can we do screenshots? Maybe
that's what I replaced it with on the other video. So we must be able to do that. So yes. Rhett again. God, Rhett, get out. Just don't do that. If the Batman Beyond movie is set in the Burtonverse, were it to ever be made, what do you think the plot would be like? I hope it would just be. I hope it would be
Michael
a
Keaton
cool.
would be
It would
there.
be yeah. I think it would be cool to mirror how BTAS launched off of the Burtonverse, and now the Burtonverse could take cues from the DCAU and just basically do the same kind of story. But I think that's what people want to see is basically the same thing, but with the actors that they
coming
like.
to age,
Yeah.
coming to age story. Well, who cast as Batman Beyond? I know Will Friedle wants another shot at playing him.
Yeah.
But he might be a little too old now to actually play like the live action version.
He still looks so youthful and delicious, but he's not quite the 17-year-old Terry that he needs to be.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. It would probably end up being some. Would end up playing
some random guy, some kid,
some Disney Channel bozo. Matthew Shelley, if you could for a fun one shot, what would it be?
I missed the beginning of that question, James.
Same. So a Ninja Turtles style crossover, but with a different property.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of another 90s like gargoyles. Maybe would be kind of cool.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. There was that Batman Spider-Man crossover I wrote that were both based on the 90s versions, 90s cartoons, and it was bad.
I'd like to see a Justice League crossover with the Justice Friends from Dexter's Laboratory. Major Glory and
Dial M for Monkey.
Yeah,
could be in there.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Brick Tales. I have bought Justice League season 1 and 2 on DVD, but since I'm watching Superman the animated series first. But my question is, do you prefer Justice League or Justice League Unlimited? I think I actually like Justice League season 2 the best out of any Justice League season. JLU Cadmus stuff is obviously really good, but I don't know. Season 2 of Justice League has the most and now this classic comic villain, Dr. Destiny, Eclipso, Gorilla Grodd, all this stuff. It's like you got the Secret Society, you got the and the Star Crosses in there, which pulls it up pretty high. Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I love Justice League Unlimited for the overarching Cadmus story that they built up to that really brought the DCAU together as a cohesive thing. But man, the season 2 of Justice League has incredible episodes. Twilight is
A Better
so good.
World, the Justice
Tabula
Lords.
Rasa.
Yeah,
I mean, almost
they're all really good. Yeah.
Star-Crossed.
But season 2 had a bunch of gold medalists. Yeah. This is Rhett again. How do you guys feel about Jason and Damian being, despite not being in the DCAU? Also, man, that Robin Beyond forced Jason into continuity.
It's DCAU adjacent.
No. It's DCAU inspired.
It's obviously not DCAU if Damian and Jason are there, because we never ever got any word that they existed in the DCAU. So the current Batman Beyond title is obviously pulling from the best of the comics and the animated series. I think you can kind of assume the continuation of the animated Batman Beyond is this is what Batman Beyond would look like if it was set in the Rebirth future.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just kind of it's the same kind of Batman Beyond stuff, but they have to incorporate the characters that are in this mainstream continuity, so they're just there. I don't know. I wish I read more of it than the first issue, so I don't really have.
And it goes back and forth. Kyle Higgins did a lot better job keeping things related to the animated world when he wrote Batman Beyond 2.0. Adam Beechin was pulling stuff from the DCU. He's the one who brought in Jason first. Some other characters like the Metal Man and Joe Chill, things like that. But there were the current writer Dan Jurgens is the one who's more so established it with the Rebirth and New 52 timeline, because he picked up the book right after Future's End wrapped, and it was it dealt with the fallout of Future's End. He
also asked Batgirl Beyond, please explain her to me because I do not understand her.
You should check out our Scott Peterson interview because
Yeah.
we got to talk to the writer of the Batman or the Batgirl Beyond story that was in the Batman Beyond book. So Scott Peterson was also writer on Batman Gotham for longest time. It's a great interview. He talked a lot about Batgirl Beyond on there.
That and a lot of other fun stuff from Batman Adventures and whatever else he had.
But it's basically an original character.
Yeah.
She's Latina. Forget her name, but she becomes Batgirl despite Barbara Gordon wanting her to.
And I think we might have brought up with him how it's not Max like people kind of wanted it to be. It's just a new character. So, Juan Pedro, would you like to see a Wonder Woman show? Yes, duh.
Yeah.
It has to be Susan Eisenberg. Yep.
And Susan, if you're watching, invite us to the premiere.
Yeah,
we'd be there.
Invite us to your house so we can have tea with you. Lego P3. What? Lego P3 says.
I mean, tea's fine.
I
tea's
said
cool.
tea. Yeah, I didn't say anything weird. God,
I puppy.
That sounds weird. See,
I said puppy. I said puppy.
I know, but you can't say I want to play with her. And anyway, Juan. Oh, and we said okay. Lego P3. Do you think Young Justice could be in the same multiverse as DCAU since it's on Earth 600 or something? The 16. Multiverse stuff is so.
It's Earth 16, but it was also Earth 16 in the comics is a different world.
Yeah,
we see that world.
Multiple multiverses. Yeah,
there are.
So
the Omniverse.
Yeah, everything exists in that. So, Clock Stomper. I like that name. It's like that movie. Do you think there's a possibility continuations that aren't Justice League related, solo stories, or maybe introducing some other team like Seven Soldiers? I feel like for marketing purposes, they're probably not going to do movies that aren't Justice League this or Batman this or Superman this because those are the most popular names they have. But I think it would definitely be cool. I think that's like, for instance, Justice League Dark is not about the Justice League but it still has Justice League in the title. What are you staring at, Ted? You talk Janet. What? Y'all didn't.
We didn't talk about Scooby-Doo Guess Who, the Scooby-Doo Guess Who show with Wonder Woman and Kevin Conroy's Batman. Yeah. Important news that we should share.
That is happening.
That's news. Happening.
Yep. That's all we have to say.
There's some footage out there. Kevin Conroy's Batman coming to Scooby-Doo, but it's not like the same style as the DCAU.
It's pretty close.
Exactly.
But,
it's close.
It's one of those. It's not Susan as Wonder Woman though. It's someone else. But anyway, I think you could do a movie about 7 teams like that, as long as it's called like Justice League, 7 Soldiers of Victory or something, because people are going to pick that up off the shelves unless it's something.
Or Justice League versus the 7 Soldiers of Victory. You know how Justice League likes to fight numbered teams.
They like the verses, the Fatal 5. The Teen Titans, those are numbers. Teenager Titans.
The terrific trio.
Yep. Justice League versus the terrible trio. That would be over in 3 seconds. Okay.
I'd like to see Hawkgirl versus Vulture.
Yeah, man. Shark versus Killer Shark.
Aquaman versus Shark.
Matthew Shelley, I guess the DCAU could give Barry a similar had Barry's from a now defunct timeline, and in our continuity, yeah, they could do whatever they want. There's all sorts of timeline, time stream stuff that goes along with Flash characters. So, and
I have a in-story reason
explanation
for why Bart Allen can exist too. It's weird, but it'll work.
Yeah, it's unorthodox. Fanfic talk. Everyone always complains about any interest in making a video where you explore how many times that's really happened in the DCAU. That'd be kind of fun. I've been wanting to do a video for a while. What all is in each pocket of Batman's utility belt, where I go through each episode of any time that Batman pulls anything out of his utility belt. And so it's like, oh, in this episode, the second from the left pocket had batarangs in it, but in this episode, it had cast balls or whatever. So
that would be funny.
It's a similar idea to the Arkham thing. Yeah, like how many times did Joker break out of Arkham on screen and stuff. Yeah.
We had Arkham really kind of mess us up in the Legacy.
Yeah.
Now.
We'll have to figure that out. Rhett. Oh, Am I asking too many questions? No, you're good, dude. I think
That's the answer to your question.
Yeah, I think Burton Beyond would have had an easier time writing out the Robins since they don't exist. Would you like them to include some Robins or even Batgirl, anyways?
How can you forget what's his name? Chris
O'Donnell. Yeah.
O'Donnell. Wonder what he's up to these
days. But there's a fan theory that the Burton Batman movies and the Schumacher Batman movies are not in the same universe. The
I can
Schumacher
see
Batman
why
movies
you'd want
are
that theory.
movies within the Burton universe, yeah. But I don't think that's totally.
I think they're connected.
Works, but yeah. Jake Johnson, do you think the DC will make an animated Doomsday Clock movie? Maybe eventually, yeah, because it's a event of the century kind of a thing.
I don't think so. I don't think they will.
No,
no.
I guess there's probably screen rights tied up with what's his face?
The Watchmen show?
Yeah, no. I mean, the author of Watchmen is
Alan Moore.
Yes, and he is very protective of his stuff, so I feel like maybe he wouldn't want
But he doesn't have any say because he didn't know the characters. That's why they're doing the Watchmen show on HBO.
Okay, they got away with it. He ran out of copyright time.
He is a known wizard, and he will place a curse on you. So you don't want to do it if you want to avoid the Alan curse.
Alan Moore and Frank Miller probably hate each other, but they should have like guild of just like creepy old guys that just like
Alan Moore.
Alan
Moore and Grant Morrison do curses at each other in their comics. That's what Grant Morrison wrote the Pax Americana issue of Multiversity. That was definitely a spell.
We've got 3 more questions before we wrap this up. Rhett again says his name is now Rhett again. Any thoughts on Damian being the lead of Shadows? Is that a comic thing that's happening currently? Because I don't know about that.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Titans. I haven't been reading the book.
No,
there's 2 Titans books though. There's Teen Titans and
League of
Titans.
Shadows.
Oh yeah. That's happening in the Batman Beyond book. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the new. He's the new head of the demon.
And the Shape 1970. Well, did you have thoughts on that? Did you have an opinion? Like I said,
I think it fits. It's just like obviously, Damian went more towards his Al Ghul heritage than the Wayne, and that's. Sorry for my neighbor upstairs. I think I don't know if you can hear all the thumping.
Just now,
but
I think maybe that's just
like
an excuse because Batman Beyond. Why wouldn't he become Batman? If you still want Terry McGinnis in the future, you got to get rid of Damian now. So.
Otherwise, it would be like the Batman number 666 version of Damian, where Grant Morrison, he's got a little cat named Alfred. That's kind of cool. In that.
Yeah,
I like that.
The Shape 1978. Would you like to see? I don't know. It'd be cool to see another movie, maybe, but like set in that time period. Like Sub-Zero was sleeker animation, but still set in that world. But
I'd take another season. That'd be cool.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't have feel bad saying this, but I don't have confidence that they're not going to mess something up.
Yeah. Well, I would want to ideally have new characters, like because there's a bunch of voice actors who worked on the original series aren't around with us anymore. So it'd be cool to see like new characters like Tallyman and Mr. Zaz.
Yeah, it would be really hard to have another Batman season with no Mr. Freeze.
You'd have to bring the Joker back.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, there's
and Harley.
And our final and perhaps most poignant, important question from Hydro PX: you think Batman ever knocked himself out? Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
During his training.
I'm sure he's taken a bunch of like toxins and stuff to build his immune system over the years, like on purpose.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're not talking. I was talking about actually punching himself in the head or something.
No, I'm thinking of drugs.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
No, he wouldn't accidentally punch himself. He could.
Well, no,
I bet he would like. He'd be testing his stuff and be like, "Oh no, my smoke grenade!"
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Passes out.
Okay, yeah.
And then Alfred comes by like half an hour later with a cup of tea, and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah. We're going to cut off the questions there just over our normal time limit. But thanks everybody for chiming in. We're potentially more often like this instead of recording it separately and putting it up for you later. But to say to that, if we do that more, let us know if you liked this style of presentation of the podcast. The only problem I can foresee being continuing to do this regularly is that not like the podcast normally comes out on Monday mornings, but we usually record it on like Wednesday or Thursday nights. And so it's like the previous days. So it's dependent on us consistently having Monday mornings open or mid afternoons open for.
You never know.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. But thank you for listening and watching, everybody, to the first ever live podcast out of sheer necessity.
I'm glad it worked out. We had a funny 15 minutes of whatever at the beginning, but it worked.
I could include that in the bloopers. Just put the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme in the background, looping the whole time.
And if we couldn't make money off of it.
That's true. So thanks for tuning in. The podcast is out every other on iTunes and YouTube and watchtowerdatabase.com. And again, the audio version tomorrow of this new thing we're trying out. Share this with your friends if you would like to get us more subscribers, if you would like to share the wealth with your friends, with your peeps that also like listening to two dweebs sit in their room and talk about Batman Beyond for a couple hours.
Dweebs.
Okay, one dweeb and a handsome man named James Trekker. Ha ha! Gotcha. So we're on social media at DCAU Watchtower. You can also email us at watchtowerdatabase.com or info@watchtowerdatabase.com. Those are two ways that you can get questions on the podcast, or you can find us on Discord, which is linked in the description or in the About section of our channel. We got videos out on the channel Sunday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. No, that's wrong. That's the old one.
It's not right anymore.
So, my God.
Changed it up.
We got videos out twice a week. I'll say that. That's a way easier just way to get. Thanks to Adam Mullen for the music top, which didn't happen this time because it's live. It may be in the version of the audio. He's also been screening the questions for us throughout this, so thank you, Adam. I know you heard me say that just now. Also, you just heard me say that Adam is the sexiest man alive. Do you agree? He's okay.
He's no Picard.
That's true. Yeah, he's no Patrick Stewart
or Kirk.
Yeah, who's more handsome, Patrick Stewart or William Shatner?
This is a question for me.
Yeah, just you.
Well, I don't really swing that way, but if I had to pick,
subscribe to the YouTube channel so that and you don't miss out on upcoming stuff. We're also on patreon.com. The answer is Patrick Stewart. We're also on patreon.com. Yes,
because he's best friends with Gandalf and Magneto.
That's why he's absorbed some of...
William Shatner has no friends.
Yeah, that's very accurate. Patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower if you want to toss us your coffee money. And check out the cool rewards tiers. We got artwork by me. We got live hangouts like this one, but with you guys also here. All sorts of stuff. Loot Crate affiliate code will be in the description after we wrap this up and I paste everything in there like normal. And merch at teespring.com/stores/DCAU Watchtower. That's the episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you again to Echidna and Orion the Star Hog for helping us out with the live stream today.
It went swimmingly near the end here.
Yeah, with the issues we had up top, there was no way I was going to be able to do this all by myself. So very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next time whenever this happens or on the next normal audio podcast. Yep, it's 2 weeks. Farewell, Jake Johnson. Farewell.
Fare thee well.
I really do want to end the stream. Yes.